Alright, hello YouTube. Round 2 of the Mid-America Open. I played a 1900. I had the white pieces. This was the next day. The first round was on a Friday at like 7 p.m. and the next round was at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And this game was almost like karma for me in a way. Let me know if you see any patterns or common themes from the previous game in this one, but like reversed colors. So I was white and I played d4. And I ended up playing a Catalan. He played this c6 move order, and again, I'm being really lazy and stupid in the opening. That's my new thing I'm doing. I'm being a lazy bum in the opening, and I confused it with my game with Sheena Zhang at in Vegas with this move order. This position, I play Queen d3 here, and I like this line even though it's bad. I quite enjoy this line, sacking the g-pawn. And I don't know any theory, but look at it, you know? Like, who wouldn't want to play this position? So I was just kind of not thinking it was like, oh, it's this pawn structure, I'll play knight c3. But the thing is, he hasn't played knight f6 yet. So after he takes, this is a position I've never seen before. It's called the note boom, which is familiar to me. I feel like Brian Wall had a phase where he was really going crazy for this. But usually I put my knight on d2, so I don't even know what I'm doing. So now I'm just forced to play chess, which is fine because I kind of know how to play chess. a4 is the logical response, trying to not allow him to keep his pawn. Bishop b4, and I kind of figured e3 or e4 would both be good here because I'm attacking the c-pawn. I'm either solidifying my center or controlling the center more, and also getting ready to castle and things. But at this point, I was kind of tired and frustrated, and again, we're going with the lazy theme. I wanted to get into more of a pawn structure that I knew a little better, so I could be a little more lazy. So I played g3, which I didn't think was a terrible move, and it's true. The top 3 moves are e3, e4, and g3. G3 is way less common though, so I figured that would help me, especially because my opponent played these moves very fast, so it seemed like prep. In g3, he did think a little bit. So he played b5, and now this pawn structure I'm way more comfortable with because it is more Catalan-esque. I'm going to have pressure along the long diagonal, and it's going to be about breaking his little pawns apart. He's going to try and hang on to his pawns, and that's going to be our system. So bishop g2, bishop b7, knight e5, stopping the knight from developing, and opening this diagonal so c5 is harder to get in. And before I played knight e5, I very briefly was like, okay, there's no f6, like f6 is weird, right? Okay, cool. And just in my blunder checking, because I have to blunder check now because I hang pieces, so I look at every forward move right before I decide to make my move. And to my surprise, he actually played f6. And the reason that I discarded this move was because I didn't really calculate anything. These are the words that went through my head. I said, too many pawn move, not enough castle. Probably fine to give him this tempo. Because now his knight can't go to f6, so he took away a square for his knight. Now he really needs to play knight e7 and castle, or he's going to be in big trouble. So I said to myself, if f6, I'll play knight f3. And that's what I did. And he should really play knight e7 now, because he wastes any more time with pawn moves. His king is never going to leave the center. Now remember the last game I played, where I was the black pieces, I was out of theory against a Catalan-like thing, and I played this pawn move. This is actually not a bad move here, surprisingly enough. He wants to just get it was a little bit scary to me, at least in monkey brain, because if pawns go hard. So I was a little concerned with this. Now it is I just think it's nothing to panic over, because I don't really have to think about this too much. All I need to understand is that his king is still in the center, and he's behind in development, and in order to make that more felt, is to increase my development, increase my king's safety, so that the discrepancy between us is larger. So if there's not a way to directly exploit the king being in the center or his lack of development, what you do is you keep increasing the gap. So castles is the best move here. Again, he needs to play knight e7. He needs to castle. This is maybe his last chance to do so. Maybe not. Maybe he could get away with something. I don't know. I don't know what he could get away with. But I think he should play knight e7 and castle. But my opponent played the move bishop takes c3 here, which I had already calculated this kind of to the end of what happened. Because it's clearly what he wants to do. He wants to take on c3 and play b5 and unleash his pawns. So the line I saw was b takes c3, b4, and here it looks scary, but again, 1, 2, 3, technically 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pawn moves maybe. And we're only on move 11. He only has one piece developed, and it's this. I don't think this is going to work out for him. So I very calmly play rook b1, pinning the pawn to the bishop, so he can't take. If he ever plays b3, I'm actually really happy with this move, because after bishop a3, he can't castle anymore. Bishop h3 is coming. I played a game like this against Matthew Wofford, like last year at the MLK. Maybe I'll put that in the description, but that was one of my favorite games I ever played. Really punishing a lack of development in the Catalan, so I was excited for something like this. So he can't really play b4. When he played b4, he actually weakened the c-pawn quite a bit. He has an astounding number of weaknesses in the position, actually. So if he doesn't do something quickly, he's just going to fall apart. So I am kind of threatening to take on b4 because it's attacked twice. The only ways to defend it would be to play queen b6, queen e7, knight a6, something like this. But the problem with knight a6 is that now the c-pawn can't be defended because it takes away the only square that something can defend it from. So that doesn't really help, because you defend one weakness, but now another weakness just is even weaker. And, you know, if he ever puts his queen here, that's suicidal. Because, I mean, look at it. But, he played knight a6. And I very calmly just play knight d2, and I attack the c-pawn. That cannot be defended. Still, he can't play b3 because of bishop a3. Still, he can't really take. He goes knight e7 because, you know, if his idea is taking, I don't know, he's having too many problems here. So he plays knight e7, trying to get to the d5 square, trying to get to the c3 square. And I could take on c4, it's a good move, but instead I just went ahead and played e4 first, which I like a lot because it's just like killing hope, killing counterplay, controlling the only squares for the knight. And b takes c3. It is white to play and win. I want the full line with black's responses. Don't give me a move. Give me a line. Let's check the chat. Okay. God. A line of chess notation, please. That makes sense. You're expecting too much from us. I'm really not. It doesn't even have to be the right line. Just try. Just try. It's not that hard. Okay, what are our options? Rook takes b7, c takes d2, rook takes e7, queen takes e7, queen d2. That probably wins. But also, if you're playing rook takes e7, I don't know actually, because he grabbed your knight. You're down in exchange. You didn't get two pieces actually. So I think actually that loses. So never mind. Knight c4, queen c7, rook b7, queen b7, knight d6. That's a nice line. I like that line a lot. Probably play something like knight b4 though. Threatening this, blocking your rook. This is probably still winning because again, like you could play queen h5 or something and he just has way too many weaknesses. You can come in this way now and look at the d6 square from this angle. So this is still winning. It's not quite as winning as what I did. But knight c4 is a good move. So I played rook takes b7, and after c takes d, if I play bishop a3, knight b4 is a little discouraging. It's sort of similar to the last line we looked at, where it's still good. But if I was going to do this, I would rather have my knight still on c4. So I wasn't very happy with this follow-up. If I play something like queen takes d2, I don't know, like again, knight b4 is kind of annoying. So just process of elimination, I play bishop takes d2, and I actually have a little trick in mind. So you might be wondering, doesn't this hang the d-pawn? I don't know, does it? What is wrong with taking the d-pawn? What is wrong with queen takes d4? Guys, I hung my d-pawn. Yes, precisely. Queen takes d4, rook takes e7, king takes e7, bishop b4 check. Game over. And c5 does not help because this is not defended because this is a pin. Also, if he goes knight b4 now, I have queen g4. And the boy is getting destroyed. So, my opponent played queen takes d4, shockingly. And I snapped that shit off the board, automatic. Played bishop b4. And then you'll see why I thought this was thematic from my last game. Because now my opponent plays on for an hour in this position. He's down a queen, and I play instantly. The rest of my moves I don't take more than 30 seconds on. I played on my delay the whole time. So it was funny because like the last game I played a5 and was lost out of the opening and then played on forever. And now my opponent's doing it to me. But the difference is I was down a pawn. My opponent is down a queen. So he played a takes b4 and he thinks his pawns are really good. And I take his queen, he goes c3. And I'm gonna make you find this move too because I just think it's a sexy move. Even though literally every move wins. I was being accurate here. So what's the most sadistic move? Yeah, he's got two passed pawns. That's enough for a queen. But the difference is like I didn't really care that he played on. It was fine with me. I mean, using 30 minutes for the first half of this game that gets you to this position and then spending an hour on the rest is a little weird. Like he spends like 10 to 15 minutes on every move from now on. E5 could be considered. If I had less time for a lunch break, I would have been more annoyed. But there was a lot of time in between rounds. Even after he spent an hour just kind of doing nothing, I still had like 3 to 4 hours just to hang out because I finished this game so quickly. So I played the move queen to c4. And this move is my favorite move because I'm looking at every single one of his stupid weaknesses at the same time. I'm simultaneously, like, I'm denying rook d8 with a tempo, but I'm also preventing c2, I'm preventing b3, I'm attacking c6, I'm attacking e6, I want to play bishop h3, I'm preventing the rook on a8 from moving because the knight can't move. And I just think that queen c4 is just zipping up the gimp suit and throwing away the key. That's what queen c4 meant to me. But anywho, he keeps playing. He goes c5, bishop h3, and I play all these moves instantly, but he's thinking like 10 minutes per move. He attacks my guy, I move it, I take his pawn, and then I build up and, you know, he resigned here. This is where he draws the line. He doesn't have two connected passed pawns anymore, so he can resign. So, I don't know, that was like the only game I played well, but also my opponent kind of killed himself. And it was also very funny because I kind of sensed that he probably thought his position was good before he hung his queen, and that's why he played on, like, as kind of one last tantrum. But he was lost positionally, and before that, like, he didn't have a good move. If we go back to when I played bishop d2, white was already close to winning, if not just completely winning. It's like +3 here. because again, he still has all of these problems to deal with. Plus my rook is on the 7th rank. He still hasn't castled. I have queen h5, I have queen g4, I have bishop h3. I have the whole center. I have 2 bishops. He only has 2 knights. And it's he's just lost. I think the best move is queen c8 here, which is like, okay, whatever. But this is this is getting attacked. Everything's getting attacked. And he came up to me. I didn't offer him a postmortem because truly, if I had offered him a postmortem, I would have said, "Why did you play on? Like, why did you do that?" That would be the only thing I was thinking about. So I didn't offer him a postmortem because I kind of just wanted to go, like, be away from the game because I had been playing it for way longer than I needed to. But he came up to me later and he was like, I put the game in the computer and it's like, it turns out I was just positionally lost before I hung my queen. And I just like looked at him and I was like, yeah. No, I didn't know. I just like played the moves I played randomly. I didn't think there was no reason behind the moves I played, but I don't know. That was interesting to me because the boy is learning, yes. But he was so like I could tell that it made him feel better that he didn't just hang his queen and that he got outplayed. I know that feeling. I think blundering is way more painful, especially if you think your position is good. So he kind of did the exact same thing I did, just like on a different level. But he had to tell you so that you knew. Yeah.